God cannot change. If he were to change, it would mean that he had something previously that he no longer has, or that he didn't have something that he now has. God cannot change. So we should not be surprised that he is perfectly consistent, that he continues to do the same thing over and over and over again. And this is really incredible from a perspective of salvation history, because we can see in every era and culture and context the Lord acting in ways that we would never think linked together, but in fact are an expression of the Lord's consistency, an expression of his consistency specifically for our salvation. For example, the vigil reading last night and then this first reading, in both cases the church picked readings that speak about the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant. Okay, the Ark of the Covenant had two things. One, it contained the covenant of God. It had the Ten Commandments inside of it. And second, it was associated with the presence of God. When the Ark of the Covenant was placed in the temple, and they dedicated the temple, the presence of God came down upon the Ark. The Ark was called the mercy seat, because it was the seat on which the presence of God resided. Mary, in the church, is spoken of as a new Ark of the Covenant, or a continuation of the Ark of the Covenant. She contained within herself, by being the mother of God, by carrying Jesus in her womb, she contained within herself the new and everlasting covenant, who is Jesus Christ. She is associated with the presence of God, because God was present in her womb. And to carry this forward into today's era, we have the tabernacle. She's spoken of as a living tabernacle because the tabernacle contains the presence of God and the new and everlasting covenant, which is the Eucharist. These are the same three things. The Ark of the Covenant in the Old Testament, the tabernacle in the era of the New Testament, and Mary right in the middle. These are the same things. God is constantly expressing himself in new ways that are the same. It's amazing that God continued to do this. Only an infinite and perfect and wonderful being would be able to be this incredible and creative. But he takes the same expression and he expresses it three different ways in three different places. And what is that expression? That expression is that he wishes to be with us. He wishes to give us a covenant. And a covenant is more than just a law. A covenant is a family relationship. He wishes to bring us into his family, and he wishes to be with us in that relationship. And Mary is a high, deeply important expression of that desire. She talks about, in our gospel today, during the Magnificat, she talks about everything that God does to tear down the high and raise up the low. He brings people who desire him and who need him into his presence. The prideful, those who have everything that they need such that they don't need God, the prideful cannot receive the presence of God. But those who realize that they are nothing in the face of God, those who realize that they desperately need him, and particularly that they desperately need a Savior, God is the Savior when he tears down the high and raises up the low, they have a covenant with God. They have the presence of God. Mary is a deep sign of that desire of the Lord. Now, in Mary, we also see the perfection of everything that God desires for us. Mary, fully human. And Jesus, also fully human. But unlike Jesus, Mary, not God. She is us. We have the same humanity as Mary. Yes, she was conceived without original sin, but we were recreated without original sin at our baptism. So that doesn't really give her that much of a leg up. She is our model. She is an expression of everything that we can and ought to be. And in the great Marian feast days, we see Jesus enacting in his mother what he promises to enact in us. In her Immaculate Conception, we see a prefigurement of our baptism. Her life without sin is a sign of our life without sin. And in her Assumption, we see a prefigurement of our resurrection and eternity with God in heaven. Yes, Mary gets to do it first, and we can't really be biased because this is his mom, so it's okay when a son loves his mom. It's fine. But it is not exclusively for her. Yes, she does get to do it first. Yes, she is the one given to us as the example, but it is for us. It's not for us to say, oh, how wonderful is Mary, and she has all of these unique things. It is, how wonderful is Mary, she is the sign of our hope, because she shows in herself our destiny. We celebrate her because she's wonderful, but also because she is the first fruits of humanity. She is the first to experience what all humanity has been promised through Jesus Christ. And today in the Assumption, we celebrate and give thanks and find hope in this image of our resurrection. The image of our resurrection with a new and incorruptible body on the last day, our own assumption into heaven at that time when Christ comes again, and our living with Him for eternity. It is wonderful and it is beautiful that God gave us a sign and a guarantee in His mother. That He showed us that it was possible and that it was His desire. And how wonderful that we can give thanks that is His desire for all of us.